Hi, welcome back to another episode of Figs Talks Fights. I'm your host, Brian Figueredo, and today we're going to get into the post-fight results of UFC 247, Jon Jones versus Dominick Reyes, which took place last Saturday, February the 8th at the Toyota Center in Houston, Texas. So, let's get into it. Now, I did do an immediate reaction to the fight, the main event that was, of Jon Jones versus Dominick Reyes. If you haven't seen that video, check it out. I put it out maybe 20 minutes after the fight was over because I wanted to have a fresh take on it. But before I talked about anything else, I did want to take a closer review at these fights and give it a little bit more analogy and some credit instead of just, my reaction just getting pumped off the couch and, well, a little pissed off to be honest with you. But anyhow, so Jon Jones defeats Dominick Reyes on the scorecards, unanimous decision, 2 rounds giving Jon Jones, or 2 judges giving Jon Jones 49-47 scorecards, and 1 judge giving him a 49-46 scorecard. So we're about nearly 40 hours removed from this fight, somewhere 42 hours removed from this fight, and I still feel the same exact way. In fact, I think I'm even more confident that Dominick Reyes won this fight. So this judge, they gave him the 49-46 scorecard. Apparently, I'm not going to name him, but apparently he is a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and has his own MMA school. What the fuck was he watching? 4 rounds. Okay, now, first round, Dominick Reyes comes out hot and is tagging Jon Jones immediately. Okay, Jon Jones is a guy that's hard to hit clean. Okay, Dominick Reyes didn't put him down, like knock him down with a shot, anything where you see his head snap back and jaw moving. Okay, but he put some heavy shots on him, even knocking him down with a body shot. Some people are saying Jon Jones was caught off balance, possibly. Took a pretty clean left to the sternum though, that had to have hurt, put him on his ass. So there's no way you can give Jon Jones that first round. Move on. Second round, a little bit more competitive, but I don't see how anyone can say Jon Jones won the second round, but 2 of the 3 judges thought otherwise. Now, I have been to live mixed martial arts events before, and it is a lot different looking at it live in the venue than it is with commentators in your ears, all right? The crowd just makes different noises. There's a bunch of people that are hammered, passing out, eating half slices of freaking $12 pizzas, right? Okay, it's a mess there. So sometimes I get it, the things can at least distract your judgment, all right? It's not the same as watching it on TV. Not a chance, all right? Dominick Reyes clearly won the second round, put more strikes together on him. I mean, he did take some more leg kicks starting in the second round, but not happening. Move along. Third round. Well, it's kind of the same shit, but Jon Jones is just eking up, catching up to him a little bit. Instead of, 3 shots to 1, he's getting in a better ratio there, okay? And this is where I did unfairly recall in my post-fight reaction that Jon Jones got desperate at the end of the second round. It was actually at the end of the third round where he's just running after Dominick Reyes towards the fence, tries a low shot takedown, just getting right underneath his hamstrings, couldn't get it, and just tries throwing as many blows as he can until the horn beeps off. Still, I mean, you could see Jon Jones wanted it, but not happening. Now, the fourth round, Dominick Reyes does come out hot, and he's landing way more shots than Jon Jones, at least for the first 30 seconds or so, but Jones just took over, found that championship heart, and this pace of this fight was a very, very high pace. But if you look at Dominick Reyes' footwork, he was taking 2 or 3 extra steps for Jon Jones, just sidestepping and pivoting along. So as far as who put out more energy in this fight, especially up to the fourth round, I mean, if you want to look at it as far as like burning calories, Dominick Reyes was burning way more calories in this fight than Jon Jones was. His movement was far more selected, and he was just trying to follow Dominic along the fence and try to find his spots to be able to cut him off, okay? Fourth round comes out, Jon Jones is actually getting a little closer, okay? putting better shots together, and eventually gets himself a takedown. Doesn't do much with it. Dominic does get back up, but, you know, Jones is putting together chain wrestling. That's the difference between his takedown attempts in the beginning of the fight than coming into the 4th round. If you're going to just shoot one takedown on Dominick Reyes, if he's going to have the answer for you, you need to be able to shoot the single, move the single to the double, switch up, you know, try to get an underhook, try to low pick him, whatever you can do. Try to take his back, try to grab him at the hips. You have to constantly make him defend one thing and then be on to the next. Get on his leg. If you're not on his leg, clinch up on him. There's a lot of things they're going to have to chain together to be able to put Dominick Reyes down. Now, especially compared to that Volkan Ozdemir fight that happened just less than a year ago. Damn. Which I was saying before the fight, I mean, I don't think Dominick Reyes was preparing for Volkan Ozdemir to put him down on his back. So, Jon Jones, high-level wrestler like him, you better freaking believe you're going to be working takedown defense. So anyhow, 4th round, clearly Jon Jones, no argument there. Going into the 5th round, it was much of the same. Jon Jones, that was the most momentum he had in the entire fight, and in the 5th round. So, 5th round's over, okay? They go to the scorecards. It's clear that the crowd just, you know, even though they're drunk and eating pizza here, you know, for $15 a beer, $17 a slice, all right? At least they were paying attention enough to see Dominick Reyes did win this fight. He seemed upset. Even Dana White was panned on the side of the camera, ready to go to Dominick Reyes after the fight. I mean, that could be a camera angle, but that's what I perceived it to be. And he even said after the fight he thought Dominic won it as well. So, I mean, it was much of a surprise. So, let's talk about this for a sec. If this fight was in Pride or in Japan, how Ryzen does it, I could see a little bit more of an argument for Jon Jones winning this fight overall. Okay, but this isn't based on the scoring criteria that's in regulated MMA in North America, okay? But overall, if this was a fight with these two guys are in the alleyway and they're going to the death, I mean, unless Dominick Reyes was cruising in the 5th round just thinking he had it in the bag, which is a stupid idea if you're going for a title fight that's going to change your life. Not saying that's what he was doing, but, I mean, Jon Jones is going to win between these two. I mean, you got to give this guy credit. He has heart all day. He is a real fighter, okay? Put this guy's back against the wall. He is not going to cower over. Jon Jones really tried his best to defend the title, and according to the judges, he successfully did. So, but going under the scoring criteria, which is the 10-9 must system, which we took from boxing. Yes, boxing, I realize this is mixed martial arts, but hey, the sport needed to get regulated just less than 20 years ago across the country. So, you know, we had to do something. You know, you can't argue against Dominick Reyes. He clearly won rounds 1, 2, 3, 10-9, and then Jon Jones winning rounds 4 and 5, 10-9. It should have been 48-47 for Dominick Reyes, but that's not how it's going to go down in the history books. So what do we do from here? Dana White was talking at the post-fight press conference. He thought he won it. A lot of people were arguing that he won it. Looks like most people that I've talked to, even experts in the game, okay, everybody seems to be agreeing that Dominick Reyes won it, but he didn't seem too enthused to make an immediate rematch. So I think the only way they're going to do an immediate rematch is if people are screaming dollar signs. Here is my money. Put this rematch together. I will give it to you, is probably the only way it's going to happen. So especially with another fight card coming up this Saturday, with the headliners being Corey Anderson and Jan Blachowicz, okay? Both are top 5 light heavyweights. It's more likely that Jon Jones probably doesn't want to turn around and go through that fight again. That's more likely who's going to be your number 1 contender. And let's see if people are even still talking about this, because mixed martial arts, there's so many fight cards happening. I mean, memory seems to be lost. So we'll see. Personally, I do hope they make the rematch, but I'm not holding my breath, that's for sure. So moving on, the co-main event, your flyweight women's or UFC champion Valentina Shevchenko took on Katlyn Chookagian. Valentina Shevchenko is something. I know there was a big, huge perception, and rightfully so, when Ronda Rousey first got to the UFC and did put female MMA on the map, at least bigger than Gina Carano originally did, but she's the real fucking deal, okay? Katlyn Chookagian comes out in the first round. She's doing her normal stick and move, okay? And you could just tell these two girls were on two different levels as far as power was concerned, all right? Katlyn would need to hit Shevchenko in the same exact spot 1, 2, 3, 4 times in order to give as much damage as Shevchenko could with just one blow. Okay, Shevchenko was very patient. She was almost downloading Katlyn's movement in the first round like a cyborg, just understanding her movement and knew exactly when to counter right on the offbeats of Katlyn's striking. So eventually Valentina does get a takedown in the first round and starts putting a little bit on Katlyn Chookagian. All right, cutting her up with an elbow just right over her left eyebrow, I believe, at the end of the first round. But Katlyn didn't seem too rattled. Now you have Mark Henry in between rounds 1 and 2 telling Chookagian, it's not that bad of a cut, come on, and is giving her sound advice on how to deal with, the Terminator and Valentina Shevchenko, but it was just not enough. So second round comes out and it's just a little bit more of the same. Valentina Shevchenko is landing the heavier shots. These leg kicks that she has, she turns those hips over perfectly. I mean, she was a Muay Thai world champion. Not only did she beat Joanna Jędrzejczyk in mixed martial arts, she beat her 3 times in straight up Muay Thai. She is an animal, all right? And that's just in her stand-up game, which she didn't even really want to use the whole time, as she took Katlyn down again and just started landing ground and pound, okay? Looking for some heavy passing. Holy shit. She is fierce. Coming out in the third round, that's all she wrote. Valentina Shevchenko takes her down within the first 20 seconds, gets on top of her, passes guard, and runs to a crucifix position, starts answering the telephone and just smashing down elbows on her. Ref immediately stops the fight. Not immediately, but about after 8 or 9 unanswered blows, stops the fight, rightfully so. Katlyn got up and protested it a bit. Look, I understand. This is a championship fight. I mean, the difference between what a champion makes in the UFC versus a contender or a number 1 contender, I mean, in the UFC, the lion's share of the pay goes to the champions. So a lot is on the line. Live to fight another day, Katlyn. So Shevchenko retains her title with a TKO, round number 3 at 103 in it. Congratulations. So here's the question. Who's going to fight this girl at 125 pounds? Now, the UFC's women's flyweight division actually has a lot of great fighters in this division, but the gap between Valentina and the rest of them is huge. Huge. So who to give her next? I don't know. Joanne Calderwood? Maybe, right? I don't know if she wants any of that smoke, to be honest with you. I don't know. This is going to be a tough one to see. Good luck, girls. Good luck. I mean, eventually just keep bringing the contenders in. I don't see anyone beating her. I think they're going to eventually have to do that. Amanda Nunes rematch, make the 3rd trilogy fight. I know Amanda won the 1st and the 2nd, but personally I thought Valentina won that 2nd fight. That's the fight to make. See what'll happen. I'm pretty sure they're going to let that one stew for a good year because both those girls are looking unstoppable. So just don't let it go past its prime like an Anderson Silva, George St. Pierre situation until one of them falls off. So, consider making that fight soon. Moving on to the beginning of the card was Derek Lewis. The Black Beast returns in his hometown of Houston to take on Ilir Latifi, making his heavyweight debut. So, as I was saying in the pre-fight, Ilir Latifi is a whole 5'10" fighting at heavyweight, but that don't matter. He weighed in at 247 pounds, and it's evident this guy is fucking strong. Holy shit, this guy is strong. So let's talk about the fight. Okay, on the feet, this was Derek Lewis's fight. Okay, I know Alir Latifi was trying to throw in some body shots, going a little bit over the top, but this was Derek Lewis's fight. He was throwing explosive switch kicks at him for 260 pound plus, man. Jumping switch kicks at him, holy shit. Flying knees, throwing overhand haymakers at him, okay? Nothing's landing too super clean, but Alir Latifi, this guy's got a giant head that can take a shot. So Alir Latifi did get a good takedown in the second round, and I heard commentators were complaining, you know, he's only just sitting in half guard, he's not looking to pass or anything like that. Well, in hindsight, that was actually kind of smart. If you want to go back and watch some of Derek Lewis's older fights, anybody who's taken him down, and if they just get a little bit on side control on him, or even get the mount, this guy's hips are so explosive, it doesn't matter. You got to control Derek Lewis's hips. If you're going to take him down and hold him down, that's the only way to do it, which I believe Daniel Cormier executed that very well, as well as taking his back in their fight about a year and a half ago. But on to this fight. The problem was Alir Latifi, this is where his 5'10" at heavyweight may come into place. In order to execute a beautiful side control, or not side control, half guard, you want to be controlling their hips, okay, with your two legs there, and there is one in between. But you also need to control their shoulders too, so they can't shrimp out on you and at least get to guard. Or what Derek Lewis would probably want to do is slide that leg through and then escape, get to his knees, jump back to his feet, right? You have to be able to control them somewhat by here, and he could not stay busy enough. He seemed like he was just a little too short in that range in order to execute that and still land effective blows onto Derek Lewis. So, you know, they eventually stand him up. And when I was talking about Alir Latifi being strong, I mean, immediately he did not want to have anything to do with Derek Lewis on the feet. So he goes to clinch up with him again. Derek Lewis does a beautiful job of just trying to get his underhooks, get away from him. But like I said, Alir Latifi, outside trip, just throws Derek Lewis to the mat. Holy shit. I mean, and he weighs a whole 20 pounds less than Derek Lewis, but I mean, as far as strength goes, man, this guy's an animal. Plus, he doesn't have to cut weight to make 205 anymore. So, yeah. Going on to the third round, it was Derek Lewis opening up explosively again, but Alir Latifi once again takes him down, doesn't really do much of a passing, okay? Stays in the half guard of Derek Lewis, which once again, I didn't think was a bad idea. I actually thought it was a really smart game plan on Alir Latifi to be able to control his hips and the shoulders at the same time. But I think the size, at least the length difference on the ground, it was too much for him to be able to land those effective blows. So Derek Lewis does win the fight, 29-28. I'm assuming, I haven't looked at the official judges' scorecards. I don't even know if they're available online yet. But anyhow, I would have given Alir Latifi maybe that second round just based on control alone and those two takedowns. But rightfully so, Derek Lewis wins that fight. So one more fight I didn't talk about in the pre-fight, but I do want to mention is that Trevin Giles took on James Krause, and James Krause took this fight on 20 hours notice, okay? Trevin Giles' opponent falls out, couldn't make weight. They had to pull him from the card. Just so happens to be James Krause is there cornering one of his fighters. Says, hell, I'll take this fight. Now, James Krause, he was on the Ultimate Fighter season 15, I believe, and he also went to the finals of the Redemption season 23 series of the Ultimate Fighter, okay? If you may remember him from there. But he mainly fights at 155 pounds or 170 pounds. He took a fight on 20 hours notice at 185 pounds. So he said he didn't have to cut much weight into it, but I mean, let's give this man a slow clap. That's a real fighter and some bravery and guts too. Hell, he got paid to take the fight. They got the fight of the night, but still. Anyhow, these guys, Trevin Giles and James Krause, the fight begins, and James Krause takes his belt, like, is all over him. Gets him down, takes his back, and holds a body triangle on him. and he almost gets the rear naked choke at least on 2 different attempts in the first round alone. And eventually Trevin Giles gets up and escapes it, but this is towards the end of the first round. Now, he wasn't in a training camp. He's not a 185-pounder, all right? And he just happened to be there. Giles Krause, okay, he stuck in the fight, but it was pretty obvious he was gassed. It was pretty obvious he looked like a guy that just did the 100-meter dash and was told, do another 100-meter dash, another 100-meter dash, another 100-meter dash. He was exhausted, and Trevin Giles put it on him and won the decision. But I got a bone to pick here. The same judge that has a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt and has an MMA school in Houston who gave Jon Jones a 49-46 scorecard also gave the first round, which Giles Krause had Trevin Giles' back pretty much the whole time, 2 rear naked choke attempts that were pretty goddamn close. He gave the round to Trevin Giles. What the fuck is this guy doing judging fighting? All right? I'm talking about him as a judge, all right? I don't know how he is as a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. Obviously, the guy put a lot of years and time on the mat and knows what the fuck he's doing to be running his own school, all right? And could probably teach idiots like me a million things on how to do on the mat. Sure, teach me a million things, but when it comes to fucking judging, this guy shouldn't be anywhere near title fights. He shouldn't be anywhere near high-level mixed martial arts fights, okay? I don't know if he had his mind made up, if he had biases, if maybe he's just a big Jon Jones fan, was mesmerized, okay? Or if he's also, a Trevin Giles fan. Trevin Giles is a local guy there in Texas. Maybe he knows somebody who's trained at his gym. He's seeing things from a bias. Well, yeah, I mean, he did almost get out of that rear naked choke, but he got up after. Come the fuck on, man. I mean, if you're going to be a judge, which I would never want to be a goddamn judge, there's going to be way too many biases coming in. I mean, there's fighters I like, there's fighters I'm not as big a fans in. It would be hard for me, as much as I could tell you. I'd like to call it down the line, right? No commentary, just looking at it live in front of you. I mean, some guy's back might be turned to you the whole time you're looking through the cage and you're only seeing his head snap back or you're seeing him miss shots. I mean, there's a million reasons why they have 3 judges around either a boxing ring or the cage, because you need different perspectives on what people are looking at. But I have no idea what the fuck this guy was watching all night, possibly his phone, I don't know, okay? No more for this guy, not at the high level, okay? No disrespect to you. Judging doesn't even pay that much money anyways, which might be the fucking problem here. But, you're probably doing well with your school. Just stick to it, all right? And I mean that really respectfully, coming from a guy that I am not qualified for that job. Sorry, sir. I don't believe you are either. I think you should step down and let's talk some shit about somebody who can maybe do it a little better, okay? So that's pretty much all I have to say about the UFC 247 card. This week, yep, there's another fight night coming. Corey Anderson, Jan Blachowicz is fighting in the main event, as well as Diego Sanchez is coming for a return. I believe they're fighting in Albuquerque. But anyhow, Diego Sanchez is going to take on Michel Pereira. And if you don't know who Michel Pereira is, this is the guy that does backflips in the octagon. Not before the fight, not after the fight. During the fight, this guy does backflips, right? And then gasses out. So I hope Michel Pereira can have some redemption. Right, I'm not saying I want to see him beat Diego Sanchez, but do not gas out against a guy like Diego Sanchez, because if you want to know what it's like to feel a heart attack, maybe just get off the couch and ask Diego Sanchez, hey, can I try to keep up with you in a workout? This guy has a pace. So anyhow, that's all I got to say for today. So if you stuck around this long, I appreciate you watching. Hopefully you enjoyed the content. All right, if you like the channel, subscribe to it. All right, but anyhow,